Welcome to Indiana Sports Beat Radio, presented by Endeavor Hospitality Group and Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington.
Looks over the middle, second guesses, fires, throws. Does he make the catch in the end zone? Yes! Touchdown! Oladipo to win it.
Another one!
He got
Another
it!
one! Another one!
Huge hole! He's at the 30! He's gonna go! 10, 5, touchdown! Jonathan Taylor!
Galloway finds Rob Finnessy, who fires the three, and
He hit it!
Now, from the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios, here's your host, Jim Coyle.
Hello, everybody. Welcome aboard. It is a Thursday here at Indiana Sports Beat Radio. Welcome in. Jim Coyle with you, as always, alongside the great Dustin Schutte. Looks like it's time for sprockets. It's time for the sprockets. There's not enough people on to get that yet.
They're going to have to go back. You're going to have to do it like each segment and see if anybody can pick up on it. Because I have no idea.
All I have to say is Saturday Night Live.
Saturday Night Live. Okay. Is it
sprockets? Man, serious? Are you cannot be serious?
It sounds like something Dan Aykroyd would say. Is it a Dan Aykroyd bit?
No, man. Mike Myers.
Oh, okay. Okay. I did not see
It was the Mike Myers days, man. They would dance. They were German. They were German. Time for sprockets. And they would just do stupid dance, dumb dance. I am still a Saturday Night Live viewer.
Really?
It's just I'm recorded every week. You can zip through, man. You gotta watch the news, what do they call the news? Weekend update.
Weekend update.
Weekend update. Yeah. Weekend update, and but it happened. I think this past season, I recall, and I'm like, for the first time ever, I did not know who the host was, nor who the musical guest was. I had not heard of. I'm like going, damn it, I have not heard of either of these people. I was like, crap.
They will keep you up to date on what's popular. I know that much, but I haven't watched Saturday Night Live in, probably 10 years or so. Like I just don't. It's not as funny to me as it used to be with some of the other guys they used to have, like Adam Sandler, Chris Farley, Steve Martin, Will Ferrell, even a lot of those guys. I think Kenan Thompson's pretty funny, but for the most part, it's just not as funny to me as it used to be.
Did you know Larry David was a writer on Saturday Night Live for one season?
Well, I did know that he was a writer there, but I didn't know it was just for one season.
Almost a half a season. I mean, Wow. It was like I don't think it went well. It was pretty funny. I was talking with somebody the other day about the outtakes from Seinfeld. I don't know if you've ever seen many of those, but there is one that is without question my easy all-time favorite. And they're down at the jail, and George got arrested. What did he get arrested for? Something stupid. But his dad's down there, and then him and Elaine are getting into this big, you want a piece of me? Yeah. You want a piece of me? Oh, it was great. But the outtake from that, it took them like forever to shoot that scene because Elaine just, and I get it. There is no, I could never have shot that scene. He cracks me up without trying to be funny. He was so funny. And she would look over there and just bust out laughing. I mean, that would be difficult. How's everybody else doing?
It's hilarious. Just to go back to that point, it's hilarious to now you can go back on like YouTube or some channel and you can find a lot of the outtakes. It's crazy how many takes these sitcoms will go through because they can't get through it. Like it's so good when it's a finished product, but it takes, some scenes can take 15 or 20 takes because they just can't get it together. It's constant laughter. one of my favorite things that Home Improvement used to do was at the end, they would take some of the best outtakes from the show and put it at the end of each episode. I thought that was always a nice little, made them a little bit different. I always liked that. I wish more sitcoms would have done that.
I like it. It makes it a little more real. Dwayne's jumping on saying, hey, Larry. John, how are you, sir? Tim says, talking about the NASCAR race that's coming to Chicagoland, baby.
Yeah.
But not on a race course. We're talking about the downtown streets of Chicago. Right by Wrigley Field, baby. Now, wouldn't that be hilarious? Wouldn't that be hilarious if the track went by Wrigley Field?
It would be.
It would be amazing. I think it would be awesome. But it's got to go down. It's got to go down by the lake.
Probably,
They've got to do that. I mean, I wonder how. I've not read about how long it's going to be, or anything like that. I know that.
So I actually wrote that story yesterday.
Whoa! Wait a minute! Whoa! Back!
I didn't break the story. I wrote the story.
Back up! You were writing a NASCAR story?
Yeah, baby. We are all encompassing sports at outsider.com. So
what's
golf, NASCAR, baseball, football. We got it all. Hot dog eating contest.
On what? Oh, we're gonna talk about that. But well, we can do our impersonations. I'll be Marty. What is his name? This is Marty Smith for me. This is Marty Smith for ESPN down at Clemson University, reporting on the. What is that? Marty? What's his name?
Yeah,
Not Marty.
Yeah,
Smith.
You got it. Marty Smith.
It is Marty Smith. He's got that pompadour going, and he works that Southern twang. I mean, he works it. I think he tweaks it a little bit.
See, I think it's so authentic. There was a story the other day, or Reese Davis was on a podcast, and when he was coming up through the ranks of like going into television business, he had concerns about his Southern accent. Which, I
didn't have concerns about it. I got told about it.
See, but here's so. He read apparently Reese Davis. Now, I don't think he has an accent, but now once he said he had an accent, now I can kind of hear it. But he read a book that said you either need to embrace it or you need to ditch it. And so he kind of tweaked some things, but for the most part, he embraced it. And I think that's what makes Marty Smith so appealing. He didn't try to ditch it. He embraces it. And it makes him more of like that's who you're talking to. You know what I mean? You're not talking to somebody.
If we're just talking about an accent, that's one thing. But there are more things than accents that go along with regionalized speaking. And that's a problem. And that could be a problem when you're a sports anchor and you're going to different places like Wisconsin, Washington State.
Yep.
Ain't none of those places like where I grew up. I promise you. So, I can't say that I completely got,
well, they say
involved myself, but also it's been a long time since I've had to worry about it. The biggest thing that I did was just enunciate. Stop being lazy and enunciate, because that is where all of that comes from. Lazy speech is all it is. Like the people that I was born in Louisville, Kentucky, not Louisville. I was born in Louisville. It's named after King Louis, and it is a ville, not King Lua, and it's not a vol. I'm sorry.
It's a ville.
It is a ville. What was the nickname they gave it back in the 80s for the basketball team? The Ville, not the Vol, the Ville.
That's true. That's a good point.
A lot of people take pride in that. Oh, it's Louisville. No, it's only Louisville because the people are lazy and they don't enunciate and say it correctly. Louisville. King Louisville, short for village. Louisville. Very simple. But I had to make myself do that kind of stuff. that was the thing, not being lazy.
Well,
I remember my roommate at IU one time. I said, "Daggone, it's cold, man." He's like, "Oh yeah, is it? What's the code there, Jimmy?" I'm like, "Oh, I'm sorry, it's cold." But it's so easy for people who, if you don't grow up like the upper Midwest or the Midwest or the Northeast, much cleaner accents. This is gonna the Southern accent. Part of it is a lazy accent. That's not all of it. The other part of it, you just got a mix of a bunch of stuff. You got Cajuns down there and all kinds of people. So you had a big mixture as well. But big part of it is just lazy and on education back in the day. So there's that. Boy, I didn't know we were going to be on this topic today.
Well, they said, I mean, but what you just said is what they talked about. They said they work on their grammar, they work on their diction, they work on pronunciation and enunciation. And that's really, it doesn't matter what you sound like, as long as you're getting the message across clearly. And, using proper terminology, like in the South, first of all, I love a good Southern accent. I love a good Southern saying. Like at some point in my life, I started calling shopping carts buggies because that's what it's called down there. Like it takes hold of you when you're in it. So yeah. I get it. But if you're going to be in television or radio or some sort of, you have to kind of wipe the slate clean of that stuff, because nobody's going to know outside of those areas what the hell you're talking about.
Yeah, I promise you. Doing it nationally is different because you're not just in particular region. You're not being broadcast to a particular region. I could not go out to Washington State and have a Marty Smith accent and be on.
No, I think you could. I just don't think you could use the Southern terminology.
I disagree. Nobody's going to want to listen to that up in Washington, man. If it was national, it would be different, but not in this one concentrated area where nobody speaks like that. And it sounds, I think a lot of people think it sounds less educated, I guess I would say.
Yeah, but but that would be more of a stereotype than anything.
Well, kind of. But anyway, I would not want to go to Washington State and speak like Marty Smith. I'm just going to tell you right now. Because I know how those people talk. They've got a very clean, distinct dialect. But, man, I mean, if you want to stick out, sure. I'm just not all about sticking out like that. That's just too much for me. Looks like John Boy's telling us we got to take a break. We got a big show lined up. Alec Lasley's going to join us.
No, he won't.
He won't.
It's Thursday.
God, second time this week. I've got it all written out on who's on the show today. That's on the show tomorrow. Every single one of them. So I got to scratch that out. I'll get my lineup set up when we come back, but I appreciate you guys joining us here on Indiana Sports Beat Radio today on this Thursday. Man, I always get days screwed up when there's a short week, but it usually goes the other way. It's never been this way. It's just like the water's running backwards for me. I don't get it. But hey, don't forget, brought to you by our good friends at Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington, Bloomington's #1 Honda dealer. They have got great deals and 1% financing. And the WOW Club. Make sure you sign up. It is free. Make sure you go to mywownetwork.com or the Apple App Store or Google Play Store and sign up. It's totally free. Start earning WOW rewards today. WOW Club members earn exclusive discounts, dining dollars to spend, and more sent directly to your phone, and invites to VIP events. And those are going to get bigger and bigger. So that's something you want to get on. Got a great video for those of you listening on radio. You won't be able to see it when we come back, but of John Daly. I don't know, probably put one about 300 yards over a an active interstate. Did you see that?
I did see that. Yeah.
Oh, it was great. We'll have that when we come back. And much more. You're listening to Indiana Sports Beat Radio on this Thursday. Back right after this.
We'll be right back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Endeavor Hospitality Group and Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington.
Whether you're visiting Bloomington, I really would like to find a guest. Oh shit, John.
What?
Nothing. It's John Leskowski.
Oh.
Who? Man. Man. Think. What? Jeez.
All right, I've got that golfing video.
Thank you. Dustin, what do you have? I literally, I have Alex, Zach, and all that stuff written out for today's show. I'm not
I need
kidding.
to check with Zach, but I saw where he's on vacation this week, so you may not have him tomorrow.
Everybody's on vacation.
I really want him this week because they're doing that 5-part series, number 1. Number 2, we've got Roy McIlroy to talk about as well. He's crawfishing. He's backpedaling. And me doing the backstroke. Roy McIlroy's backstroking, baby. Whoops, I just knocked the hat off.
I just saw, I'm going to have to play this really quick because I had not heard it.
Sure.
And John, when we have stuff like that from now on, you can just play it instantly on.
I wish it hadn't got that messy. And in hindsight, I think there were probably steps that were missed.
Oh, in hindsight, I think I missed out on about $200 million, lads. I'm sorry. I really effed that one up. I'm the
Deutschland.
And with disruption comes change and forced change. And I think this is just sort of forced the third hand a little bit. And
30 seconds, boys.
I think that's what they're going to have to do. Do you think there will have to be peace talks between the three tours at some stage? I think so. I think that needs to happen. There's so much where the money's
All right.
Episodes of Indiana Sports Beat Radio on the homepage or on the station every week, Monday through Friday. If we're not on a station where you live, we should be. Ask for Indiana Sports Beat Radio. This segment is brought to you by Feast Market and Cellar. Now back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Endeavor Hospitality Group and Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington.
Welcome back on this Thursday to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios. Jim Coyle with you as always, and Dustin Schutte as he is as well on this Thursday from theoutsider.com. Sounds like a movie.
Outsider.com, not the.
Wow. Boy, that volume just kicked up about 10 levels.
That's what happens when you don't pronounce it correctly. We just got done about pronunciation.
Well, it wasn't a pronunciation. It was an additional word added. Outsider.com. Hey, did you see the hot dog eating contest this year?
I did, yes.
Joey Chestnut gotta give it up for him. It was almost Ryan.
Nolan Ryan?
This was almost Nolan Ryan-esque when that guy charged the mound. And,
Yeah.
and Nolan Ryan gets him in a headlock and just starts whipping on his head. If you didn't see the hot dog eating contest, some moronic protester, I don't even know what they were protesting. Don't even care. I'm not even going to give it the platform or whatever it was. Anyway, they jump up there with some sign, and I don't know if it scared him or what, but instantaneously he put this person in a headlock. It might have been a girl because he let go real quick. But took him down to the ground, though, baby, and they were out of there. They was like, oh, that didn't work out too well. But boom, baby, the headlock, and down you go. I'm done with this stuff. It's this, you know what? Last year at the NBA, was it the finals? Did that happen, or another playoff game where that girl jumped from like 2 rows?
It was this year. It was this year when the lady went onto the court. I think it was in Minnesota. It was this year's playoffs and tried to super glue her hand to the floor.
I'm getting done. I'm done with this stuff. You know what? I mean, they don't. You notice they don't do that on the football field very much.
Oh yeah, they do.
No, not very much. And they don't do it around the teams. I got news for you, because whatever happens, you see one of those guys running around a player, they're going to get clocked.
Yeah, that's
they
true.
Are going to get clocked.
I think it was, I don't know if it was last year, if it was 2021 or if it was 2019. I'm not sure when it was. But there was a group that took the field and paused the game at a Northwestern football game. I don't remember the game, and I don't remember the year, but it was somewhat recently. Couldn't have been 2020 because there were no fans at Big Ten games. So it was either 2019 or last year that a group of students went onto the football field, and I think it stopped the game for like 5 minutes. I don't understand. It doesn't. Nobody cares. You're just delaying the game and you're just pissing people off. It doesn't accomplish anything.
Those people don't care about anybody but themselves.
That's correct. Did you see there was also this wasn't sports related, but on the highways in I think Washington, there was a group of like 10 people that shut down the highway by sitting in the middle of the road as a form of protest, I think over climate change. And
of course they did.
It's like I'm surprised, especially in that area, that nobody got injured, like seriously injured.
Do you know why they did it?
Do I know why they did it?
Because they don't have jobs.
Well, that's probably true. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not getting into all that stuff, but yeah. That's a whole nother problems everywhere, man. We got problems in college athletics. But before we get there, Roy McIlroy, he's doing a little backstroking, baby. A little backstroking. Whoop, Roy. Roy says, oops, let me back this up. Buddy, how many of these PGA players are going to be sorry they missed the boat?
I don't think very many.
Do you really think that LIV is going to go away?
Yes.
Do you really? You think that they'll finally say, all right, I give up. We've already put $1 billion in.
I don't understand how it's going to I don't know how you're going to be able to give out that amount of money constantly without a lot of people that watch golf are watching it for the prestige, are watching it because of a certain tournament. More so now, players like Tiger Woods, Phil Mickelson, sometimes those guys transcend the game. But Brooks Koepka doesn't have that pull. Dustin Johnson doesn't have that pull. Bryson DeChambeau doesn't have that pull.
Nope.
So
Patrick Reed's a piece. They don't even. Nobody likes him.
And then a bunch of the other guys. Now, what I do think is happening now is I think LIV Golf is going to be around for a little bit. I don't think eventually giving away that kind of money with that kind of prize money, I just don't think it's appealing, and I don't think it can be sustained. Now, I could be wrong, but I think what the PGA Tour is realizing is some of our best players are going away. We still are going to need them in order to maintain our product. So now some of the players are starting to say, you do your thing, we'll do our thing. Maybe we can work together in the future so the PGA Tour can still survive, because it wants to – as much as I said that those guys aren't a draw to people, they still bring some viewers, and you have to have some of that. So I think they want to start to work together with these two so they can keep them involved with the PGA Tour. They can continue to make money on these events without seeing everybody go to LIV. So I don't know. I think I watch the events for the tournaments, like the Arnold Palmer Invitational, the Players. It's because of the prestige, the Masters, U.S. Open. It's because of the prestige more so than the Players. Now, there's a few that you'll watch, like I said, Tiger, Phil, some of those other names, but that's why I don't think LIV is sustainable. And now we've got weed eating going on just outside the apartment.
Lovely. But the money is the upfront money. It's Patrick Reed, those guys, they don't give a crap if they ever win another nickel playing golf as a they don't need to, because they've already won more than 10 times more than they could have dreamed of earning on the course or through any kind of marketing. Not even come close. It's stupid money. It's so dumb. That's why Patrick Reed's just giddy now, because everybody in golf hates me, but I don't care. I've got $125 million, baby. Woohoo! And a shot to win more, because the competition ain't exactly that tough on that tour.
That's exactly right. I'm going to apologize for the background noise you're going to be hearing with the mowing and the weed eating and all that. So hopefully I can get my point across. But the one thing I will say, that for LIV Golf, the one thing that it does have going for it is a guy like Pat Perez, who spent his entire life on the tour. He even said, this is like me winning the lottery. So I think that that's a good thing. It seems like they're going to be starting to pay caddies a little bit more, and that's a good thing. So I do think it expands the game for some of these players who have spent their life in golf and maybe couldn't hit the big payday, couldn't quite get their footing in the PGA Tour. It does give them an opportunity, which I think ultimately is good. But again, to me, it's more of like, I just don't have any interest in watching a startup event in Portland, which is 3 rounds. Like it just doesn't appeal to me as much as turning on and watching the WM Open. You know, seeing everybody on the what is it, the 16th, the par 3 16th hole. You know, everybody going crazy, or the prestige of the Arnold Palmer Invitational at Bay Hill. Some of these beautiful courses, TPC Sawgrass, that the par 3 7, the Island par 3.
What does having Pat Perez? What does that get the LIV Tour? I mean, he was about to go on to the senior tour, man. Hardly anybody even knows who he is. So they're gaining nothing with the players like that. Nothing. I mean, like he said, he's like, hey, I just won the lottery, because he knows. Nobody knows who I am. I haven't done jack. I'm never going to do jack. They just handed me free Monopoly money.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, they had to start somewhere. They had to fill out the 48 player field, or whatever that number is. So you got to make an offer to some people, and that's why I don't think it's sustainable. It's different if every one of the top 25 players decided that they were going to leave for the LIV Tour. That would make a little bit more sense as to why you're passing out those big paydays. But when you have some of these names, and to be honest, outside of the names that I mentioned, I don't know a lot of these guys. So that's, to me, like, nobody's going to tune in to watch. Not a lot of guys are going to tune in to watch Lee Westwood or Pat Perez or some of these other names.
They would have 20 years ago. 20 years ago, maybe. Said maybe they would have 20 years ago.
Maybe.
I mean, Lee Westwood was a player 20 years ago, wasn't he?
I think so. Ian Poulter's another one.
Yeah. See, those are you've got to get the young up-and-comers. You got to get Zalatoris. You got to get a guy like Zalatoris. You want to make an impact? Zalatoris hasn't won a major, been close, but he is without question one of the absolute rising stars of the PGA. Now you go get a Zalatoris, whoop whoop. Now you're making scrambled eggs, baby.
Okay, so this Mike says outside of the majors, most people can't name the tournaments that are played. It's golf; they either watch or they don't. So that would almost, we can agree to disagree on whether most people know the names of the tournaments.
But how many of the big stars skip so many of these?
If you're not,
like the John Deere Classic, how many of the stars were in the John Deere Classic?
Oh, the John Deere Classic never gets big names. That's not common, or not uncommon, I should say. But the point is if you're not a golf fan and you just watch the majors, you're not tuning in to LIV Golf either. You're not going, oh, I'm leaving the PGA Tour for LIV Golf. There's not a name on that tour. I mean, Phil Mickelson is playing terrible right now. So outside of Phil, there's not another name on that tour that you're tuning in and saying, boy, I want to watch Brooks Koepka play. There's nobody that has that Tiger Woods, that Jack Nicklaus allure, that nobody has that pull. People want to think that they do, but in golf, nobody has it. Unless you're transcending the game, nobody has that kind of pull. So if you're not watching the PGA Tour, you're not going to go and say, oh, I'm going to check out this. You might watch an event, but you're not going to watch it long term.
Well, and that brings up a question I was thinking about with NASCAR. All right. They have the playoff system where you win a race, you're basically guaranteed. You've always been guaranteed a shot in the end of the season playoffs. And then there would be several drivers that would get in on points, the top 16 drivers. Right now they've got, I don't even know what it is, but they're like 12 different drivers having won a race this year. It is the most first year winners it's the most first time winners, but it's the most different winners of a race since the second season of NASCAR.
Wow.
In 1950. So what that says is, that's that second year, it doesn't really count because of course everybody's getting the most, it's just happening. This is 50 years after the fact, 60, 70 years after the fact. Right. And a major sport has undergone such a transformation. They have the new gen car that has really leveled the playing field, obviously, but you've got all these, there's nobody that's dominant. And that's good in one way, but there are no superstars in NASCAR. I mean, some people will tell you that there are, but that's because they were already kind of made before this season. If things continued like this, it's hard to create superstars when everything is equal.
Right. I mean, I think when you get to this stage, the equipment matters so much. And now that you've got the technology that we have with this goes to NASCAR, this goes to golf, this goes to tennis, this goes to a lot of different sports. Yeah, there's some technique. Yeah, there's talent. Yeah, there's skill and mindset. There's no doubt about that. But at the same time, when the equipment that you're using is so technologically advanced, it does take a little bit of the skill. I don't want to say takes it out of the game, but it I guess levels the playing field. Like you said, that's probably the best way to do it. You can overcome a little bit more. Like golf is a great example. You can in the old days, you had to hit the sweet spot of the club. Otherwise, you don't know where that golf ball is going. Now you can miss a little bit and you still might be okay. And I'm sure the same is true with NASCAR. With the way the technology is, I'm sure that you don't make those quite right chassis adjustments or whatever the case might be. I'm sure that the technology can overcome that because it's so much more advanced than it used to be. So you can overcome those mistakes a lot more easily now than you used to be able to. And that's why you see more winners on the PGA Tour. That's why you see more winners at in NASCAR and some of these other sports.
13 winners, 13 different winners. Pretty amazing. And now, let's see. John Boy's telling us it's time to take another break. So I guess we'll have to do that. When we come back, we'll talk about some basketball, Indiana. Let's see what's going on this weekend. We've got some recruiting action. We'll talk about just a little bit. I'll talk about this for a second. But NBA Summer League is going on. Chet Holmgren, man, people doubted him. I'm telling you, once I saw him in Portland in person, I'm like, oh, okay, he can take it. And he can. He's still doing it. Plenty more talk about here on Indiana Sports Beat Radio, brought to you by our good friends from Feast Market and Cellar, all a part of the WOW Club. Make sure you go to your Apple App Store or Google Play and sign up for the WOW Club today. It's totally free. Start earning your WOW rewards today, and all of the great places for when you come to games, ordering online, whatever we can help you out with. Lots more coming up, and we'll be back with it right after this.
We'll be right back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Endeavor Hospitality Group and Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington.
The sun is out. The birds ain't chirping.
All right, I'm going to go grab some coffee.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, me too. Chewing on a hickory twig. Pass me that bottle, I'll have me a swig. Be born in the USA. Hey.
Hey.
No, hey.
Hey, you didn't play that golf clip, by the way. You can do that if you still want to. You don't have to, though. The highway one.
Oh, hell yes.
You don't forget that.
I wish there was sound. I mean, sound that there is,
That
but I
makes
mean,
sense.
sound. Yeah, because it's funny. I mean, it's John Daly, baby. I've pulled up my picture with John Daly, haven't I?
Yeah, I think so.
Because they were showing the Open yesterday because he won the Open, but that was 4 years after I got my picture with him when he won the U.S. Open. But he still had that mullet rocking, baby. He was still rocking that mullet.
Yep. And he won that British Open when he was.
That was the 95.
That was when he was. I think he was sober. Or had just come out of rehab or something.
Dang it.
All right, boys and girls, here we go.
Dream Deal Sales Event. Get 0.99% APR financing for well-qualified buyers on all 2017 through 2021 Honda certified pre-owned Accords, Civics, CRVs, HRVs, and Pilots. See dealer for financing deals. Andy Moore Honda, Bloomington's #1 Honda dealer. Get more to your door with AndyMooreHonda.com.
Come see us at the all-new Andy Moore Honda, now in Bloomington.
This segment is brought to you by Remax Advanced Realty, Indy Home Pros team by Cheryl Sizemore. Now back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Endeavor Hospitality Group and Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington.
Welcome back. It is Thursday. I hope you're having a good one. We're almost to the weekend. Thanks to the short week, July 4th, Monday. Got one day left. Rory McIlroy. I don't want to spend too much time on this. We talked about it a little bit earlier, but Rory McIlroy, backpedaling, crawfishing, said that talks need to take place between the PGA Tour, DP World Tour, and the Saudi-backed LIV Golf Series. Several golfers, including Dustin Johnson, Brooks Koepka, as you heard us talk about earlier, DeChambeau, Phil Mickelson departed the tour to compete because they were paid over $100 million each just to do it. McIlroy was a staunch PGA supporter, and now, though, because it's going to go to court, because they tried to keep him out of the open, some of those guys, and they went to court, got in, and it's going to be a mess because when you get to the United States, I don't know that I see the PGA winning. I see the PGA kind of being in the seat of the NCAA. When I used to compete in pro rodeo, the PRCA was the NFL of rodeo, the Professional Rodeo Cowboys Association. They tried to do that same thing because a couple of former stars broke off to do a certain series, and they started trying to ban or do the same thing to their members because you had to be a member of the association, and didn't work. It's a right to work country, baby.
Well,
most states are right to work.
Well, even I don't know how this went through, but I don't know if it was. I think it was a court overturned. I'm not sure. I didn't read too much into it, but a couple guys on the LIV Tour already had some rulings. They were not permitted to play in the Scottish Open, but those rulings got overturned, and they were granted access to the Scottish Open. So already you're seeing it internationally, where when they're contract workers for the PGA Tour, and I guarantee you that in those contracts it never said anything about specifically being just a PGA Tour quote unquote employee, or that's the only tour you can play for. So I don't know why the PGA Tour believed it could take away their tour cards. Now, what is interesting and what is going to be interesting is I don't know that the PGA Tour can suspend the players for this year, but if those guys don't participate, like the PGA Tour, you have to play in 15 events, I think. So if you
but you can't be, if they can't suspend you out of it to prevent you from completing that, to kick you out of that.
Right. So my question is then, why would the PGA Tour? I don't know what the contracts look like. I don't know the legality of the situation. But my point is, why wouldn't the PGA Tour have kind of just sat on its hands and said, you know what, we'll let this play out. And when they don't reach their 15 event limit, then we're going to revoke their tour cards. I mean, I feel like that would have been held up in court. Because it's in the contract that they signed. They have to maintain their PGA Tour card. They have to play in at least 15 events per year.
Well, but is the PGA, if the PGA would allow them to play in 15, they would.
Maybe.
Well, why wouldn't they?
First, here's the thing. But a lot of these players, so LIV is what? I don't know, 12, 18 tournaments. I don't know what the number is. If they're playing in 12 and then they've got to play in 15 additional, a lot of these guys, first of all, they're lying. They're saying that the schedule is more flexible with LIV Golf, which it's not. But the point is if a lot of these guys are saying that they can play less and spend more time with their family. If you're not going to play 15 to 18 LIV Golf events and then go play 15 PGA Tour events, you're going to play the LIV Golf, you're going to play the 4 majors, and maybe you play the WM Open, or maybe you play the Arnold Palmer, or the Players, or some other the Travelers. Maybe you play some other tournament, but they're not gonna reach that 15. I mean, maybe some young guy would, but Brooks Koepka's not playing that many tournaments. Bryson DeChambeau isn't playing that many tournaments. They don't need to.
Not anymore. I mean, that's all changed. But that's enough. We don't care about that. Who cares? Screw those guys. They're all millionaires. They're all multi stinking crapping millionaires. And you know what? I hate wasting my time talking about them. It's not a waste of time, I guess, because we like golf, but That's crap, man.
What?
That is crap. Giving people $200 million.
This is why I don't think it's sustainable. I don't know how that without any
it is when you print money and the Saudis print money, baby. It just comes gushing out of the ground. They got so much money from so long. Where do they keep all of their money? I bet half their money is kept in the United States.
I have no idea.
Let's see. Why am I seeing Colin Kaepernick's name on anything? I'm not even.
He just purchased. He invested in the Big Three, I think, the Ice Cube's basketball league, which was failing.
Oh,
which
anything to keep his name in the news, huh?
I was going to say, I don't think that's. I don't think that's a good investment. We talked about LIV Golf. There's nobody that I know of that watches Big Three. I mean, you have the NBA, you have college basketball. That's pretty much the line in the sand in terms of basketball interest.
NBA drags out. Then you've got a ton of recruiting, AAU. Then you've got the TBT that's coming up, and I can't wait for. You got the College World Series in there. Then you got the TBT. Then you got the Little League World Series. Football season. Hello.
Now, I don't know. I've
got it all planned out. I got it all planned out.
I have never watched Big Three or whatever it's called. I don't know if it's just a tournament or if it's a season or what it is, but it would be, if this isn't the format should be, because it's a bunch of guys, usually older guys who played in the NBA that want to continue to play. And I'm fine with that. I have no problem with it. But why would it not just be like a 8-team or 16-team 3-on-3 tournament that you do once every year? Like you can occupy the month of, or not maybe the month, but a couple weeks in July after the 4th. All you got really is baseball and some golf tournaments, maybe a little NASCAR. But you could probably, I don't want to say dominate, but you could probably make a pretty big splash if you had that thing for, I don't know, 2 weeks or even a full week. You might be able to make money, but if you try to do it like a full season, which I think is what it is, not like 82 games, but a season and then a tournament, that just doesn't appeal to people.
Absolutely. Turning our attention to Big Ten football. And as a matter of fact, I was looking at something on the Athletic from Jesse Temple about Illinois. Brett Bielema. And this will be his third season, correct? I think third season. Just his second season. Mm-hmm. Usually it seems the other way, but wow, it seems like he's been there 3 years already. But he seemed to make strides last year. It looked like it at times. You kind of couldn't tell it because it looked like it. Then I'm like, I don't know. They would lose to nobody. They'd beat somebody. It's like, but that's usually what is happening when things are happening.
Yeah.
When you see that kind of back and forth, that's there's usually stuff happening behind the scenes. It's just getting in sync. That's Indiana's first opponent, man. And that's going to be an extraordinarily difficult challenge because they play Illinois the week before playing Indiana. Wyoming.
Wyoming.
They play Wyoming. Illinois plays Wyoming the week before they play Indiana. So not only does Indiana have to open with a conference opponent, they open with a conference opponent who plays in week 0.
Yep. That does make it more difficult. And
see, to me, that's BS. That's BS. The Big Ten has really stuck it to Indiana in a situation like that. I don't care that it's a home game. You're giving – it's the opening game, man, and it's against a conference rival, and you give them a game to warm up. The difference between – and you having written about football at all sorts, though, no, and it doesn't matter what level. The difference between having that first game in, one game and that second game. Where do coaches talk about so much? The difference between those first 2 games
is huge.
It is gigantic, and that's going to be a disadvantage. Not something, I'm not saying it's something they can't overcome. Who knows? But it just makes it all the more difficult. And the Big Ten has really screwed Indiana. You don't hear me complain a lot about stuff like this, but the Big Ten has screwed Indiana in their football schedule. I think this is already the 3rd time in the last 5 seasons they have opened up with a conference opponent. Last season, it was Iowa.
Yep.
That was the first time Iowa had opened up with a conference opponent since 1979. And it was Indiana.
And then, obviously 2020 was different, but they obviously opened with Penn State. So there was that. I don't know about before that. 2017 was Ohio State? Is that was that the year? 2017 or
16?
I think it was
16.
2016.
Played them well for 3 quarters. Great on. They got to open on. Had game day here.
Yep.
Great environment. But sad ending to that. But yeah, that's going to be a challenge without question. And yikes.
Well, the bigger thing is you talked about the inconsistency. Illinois kind of all season, or at least through the first half of the season, was kind of 1 step forward, 2 steps back. But the one thing that they got better at was offensive and defensive line play and the ability to run the football. And that's been Indiana's Achilles heel. Even at times when they were playing really well, they've struggled on the offensive line and they've struggled to run the football. So you're playing a team that, I mean, that's why Illinois was able to go on the road and beat not Wisconsin. They were able to beat Penn State and Minnesota because they run the football well. They play really good defense too. They had some dudes on defense. They'll have some of those guys back, but that's going to be a huge test because the one thing that Indiana has not been able to do is get consistency in the run game. And if they're not able to do it this year, it's going to be another long season. And you're going to have a pretty good test. Now, I know you just look at the jersey and you see Illinois. You're not thinking that's going to be too intimidating of a test. But if you suck on the offensive line against Illinois, that's going to be a problem because they will. Brett Bielema, that's how he won multiple Big Ten championships up at Wisconsin. That's why Wisconsin was always and I know a lot of that had to do with Barry Alvarez and the foundation that was set, but he knows what he's doing. So they've got to get better in a hurry up front. They've got to be able to run the football in that game. If they can't and they get off to an 0-1 start, bye-bye bowl hopes.
Did you say what was Indiana's biggest issue last year?
Running the football.
No, blocking people.
Well, that those two go hand in hand.
Yeah, they. I don't see it getting better. That's the problem. I can imagine everything else getting better. Basilak, quarterback, new coordinator. I can see. I don't know how the offensive line is going to magically get better.
I don't either.
I think that the OC is going to have to potentially work around that. And if you start to see a lot of rollouts and things of that nature, that's why. But yeah, we're going to talk more about Illinois later on the other side of things, basketball. I think Illinois might be maybe the co-favorite with Indiana next year. They lost a lot, but they have picked up some peeps. We got more coming up here on Indiana Sports Beat Radio. Don't forget, if you're in the market for a home in the Indianapolis area, check out Cheryl Sizemore with Remax Realty and her 20 years of experience. Her 2 decades could be the difference between you getting the home you want or not. Reach out to her, Cheryl, at IndyHomePros.com. And if you're down in southern Indiana, Louisville, Floyd, Clark, Harrison counties, down around there, Barbara Pop Real Estate Services has been serving southern Indiana for 3 decades. Reach out to Matt Lincoln. Matt at barbarapop.com. Back with more Indiana Sports Beat, brought to you by Barbara Pop Realty Services right after this.
We'll be right back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Endeavor Hospitality Group and Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington.
Andy Moore Honda. Too much talking. Whoa, whoa, whoa.
Dustin, do you think both Indiana and Illinois' bowl hopes hinge on that one game in week one? Like, winner kind of essentially keeps their bowl hopes alive?
No, I think it's more important for Indiana than Illinois because
Oh, absolutely. Indiana's got to go on the freaking road to Cincinnati 2 games
you keep
later.
bringing that up like it's going to be the same Cincinnati team. I mean,
I don't give a crap. It's not. It's the same ass Indiana team. So
it's really not, though. We don't know anything about this Indiana team.
if
I know. Guess what I do know? What it says on their chest. That tells me a lot. Sorry,
That
but
said a lot when they were 6-2 in 2020. I know that was an interesting, like, different kind of year, but I mean, that didn't make a difference. That's honestly, and what you just said, that's not even a real answer. That's just the saying history is what you're saying. Yeah, they're historically bad, but that doesn't mean anything.
well, it does when you come off of a historically horrible season for a historically horrible program. That was historically awful. That was one of the biggest eggs dropped by a team in my lifetime.
You're not wrong. Yeah, I'm not denying them. Sorry about the dog.
No, Illinois they've got a relatively easy non-conference. Then they play in the Big Ten West. And so I think like they don't have I don't know what their crossover is, but
30 seconds.
They beat Northwestern. They'll have a shot against Purdue. They'll have a shot against Minnesota. Like I just think they match up better with teams in the West because they play that same style of ball. Whereas in the East, it's all speed and space and that sort of stuff. So they just match up better in the West. So I think they can squeak out more wins.
That's true. All right, here we go.
Cheryl Sizemore from Remax Advanced Realty. Let Cheryl Sizemore get you in the home you want today. Cheryl at IndyHomePros.com.
This segment is brought to you by Courtroom Sports Grill in Bedford. Now back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Endeavor Hospitality Group and Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington.
Welcome back. It is Thursday. Get my day straight, baby. This short week of the July 4th holiday. Hope you're having a good one. Dustin Schutte from Outsider.com is with me. We're brought to you, of course, by our good friends at Courtroom Sports Grill, part of the WOW Club. Courtroom Sports Grill located down in Bedford. Prides itself on providing their guests with fresh, innovative dishes designed to please the palate and your wallet. Every item on their menu is made from scratch using only the freshest ingredients. And make sure you sign up for the WOW Club at your Apple App Store, Google Play Store. They are a proud supporter of IU Athletics, but more importantly, Indiana Sports Beat. We couldn't do it without them. Support those who support your favorites. Remember that. That's how that stuff happens. Peeps, welcome back. before I forget, because I will forget, I saw a great clip on Twitter yesterday, John Daly. But then again, what clip of John Daly on Twitter is not great?
Yep.
There's no such thing as anything on there about him. It's not. You know what? He takes himself so unseriously. It's not even funny. He's got the David Letterman Santa Claus beard, and like the day before yesterday, I don't know where he was. Somewhere. I don't know how this comes about, but unfortunately for you folks on radio, again, you can't see this, but when we play it, but someone starts showing the video, and all right, here's John Daly right off of an overpass. You know, they're on the top part of the overpass in the grass. He's sockless, shoeless, sockless, barefooted, but he does have a golf club on. I noticed
he does.
That was my favorite part. I'm like going, he's got no shoes and socks on, but he does have a golf club on. He did not want to miss his shot, but I bet he teed it up because it was with a driver. But he puts it in the grass and busts his shot over the entire interstate that just was like a 6 or 8 lane, interstate. It had to go 300 yards.
Well, I'm sure it did.
And then God knows how far it really went if it started bouncing. But that's just John Daly. John, throw that up there if you've got that, man. Interstate. There's a truck, 16-wheel trucks going by and all back and forth. And here's John Daly up on the side of the road, shoeless, hitting balls over the cars.
It's just insane.
It's I love it. I love it.
For most people, that would result in like a 14-car pileup at least, because they would have hit a car or hit a driver or whatever the case might have been. I did see some people were upset about it because of, the safety thing. Hitting it across the But there were some comments that said, look, the houses on the other side of that football field were in more danger than those cars.
If John Daly doesn't shank Pete Clausen, what are you talking about? Bite your tongue. And he did not shank that ball. I can tell you that. You can tell by the sound of that thing. That ball was screaming as it went across whatever that was. Yeah, when those guys do stuff like that, they're more apt to screw up at a golf tournament, I think, than something like that. I don't know why I think that, but I do.
Well, because there's way more pressure at a golf tournament. This year, just kind of go out like they're just going out and hitting on the range. They've done it a million times.
You're like, oh man, I don't have any shoes or socks on, and I look like Santa Claus out here. What pressure's on me, baby?
Do you remember? I don't remember if it was last year, but there was in the last couple of years there was a video of John Daly. I think there's a putt course behind the Hooters where he stations his RV. Of course there was outside of Augusta before the Masters, and he had a cigarette in one hand, and he was bet $100 he couldn't make a hole in one on one of the putt courses, and he goes up there with one hand and one of those putters and just perfect, drops it in, walks off, gets his $100. I mean, just he's a legend.
He's a legend, like you, baby. Just like you. I mentioned earlier, I think Illinois is going to end up being, maybe not by the media, but I think they're going to be at least my co-favorite in the Big Ten basketball race this year. They lost a lot. And why Kofi Coburn? He should have stayed.
I
should
don't.
have stayed.
I don't know.
But how many times do you hear that? And boy, oh boy, how good would they be? But they've had some transfers. The biggest one came in from Texas Tech, but they've done well in the portal the last few years. They've lost some basketball coaches. They lost a pair to
Kentucky,
yeah. So that was a big
Yeah, they
hit.
got-
But I mentioned Kofi. He's playing in the summer league. We'll talk about that a little bit as well. Go ahead.
They got Terrence Shannon out of Texas Tech. He was thought to be a Michigan favorite, if I remember correctly. They got Matthew Mayer out of Baylor, and then you got Sky.
Yeah, that was a big get.
They got
big
Sky
get.
Clark, the 5-star guard. He's
Yeah, he was originally going to Kentucky from Montverde, a former teammate of Jalen Hood-Schifino. Illinois they're not hurting.
No,
they're not hurting.
It's an entirely new team.
And they reloaded. I think that they may be better next year than they were last year.
Well, I think so too, because they're big. First of all, their big man, even though we talked about Kofi, is Coleman Hawkins, and that dude can move. And that's what you
see. Kofi, I think Kofi kind of anchored him down.
Well,
but you did have some great guard play, but they didn't have the wing play.
Well, but the thing you have to be able to do in college, well, in any form of basketball now, there's no longer the days of Shaq and Akeem Olajuwon and some of those David Robinson, those guys. If you're a big man, you've got to be able to move, because otherwise it just clogs up the lane. So you can't slash, you can't drive as well. It creates too much traffic in the middle, and I think that's why you see Illinois. They couldn't get past the second round of the NCAA tournament with Kofi Coburn. That's why Purdue hasn't been able to get past the Sweet 16 with guys like Zach Edey and Isaac Haas and AJ Hammonds. Those guys can't move. I think Coleman Hawkins is athletic enough to where if he's your starting center, and I think that Trace Jackson Davis is the same way. That's why I really like Indiana to be really good this year, because he's a big man. He can do things around the basket, but he can also move. He's not a great jump shooter, obviously, but he can at least get out of the way. He can at least move around the floor. Those other guys, Kofi gets to the low block, and he's pretty much staying down there for 30 seconds. So it limits what you're able to do offensively. So in terms of the regular season, we'll see if they're going to be better. I think when you have those big bruisers down there, those guys, they can just bully people. And over the course of a 30, 35 game season, it takes its toll on opponents. But come NCAA tournament, we've seen you can't really have those big guys that are stationed down flat-footed in the post and win big. It's just you might be able to bring them off the bench, but if that's your primary big man, you're going to be in some trouble.
Yeah, Brad Underwood, he's done. I think he gets, and I haven't given him much credit, and I'm going to have to start doing so. But you got to start giving Brad Underwood credit. He is fielding competitive teams in the Big Ten, and that's freaking hard to do. And he's recruiting, and he's not doing it. I'm not saying they don't have any kind of NIL, but they don't have an NIL deal set up like Indiana does. So they're landing players and building good ones. Like you said, Matthew Mayer, Terrence Shannon Jr.
Yep.
And Matthew Mayer. I mean, these guys are both NBA type players. So Illinois is going to be formidable.
Yep.
I think that Illinois is going to be Indiana's biggest challenge, but that's easy to say right now, this far in advance, not knowing everything. But from what we do know, Illinois looks strong because they've got a lot of pieces in every place almost now. Indiana does. We just don't know what we don't know about the wings with Indiana. We just don't know what's Miller Kopp going to do, what's Tamar Bates going to do, what's Jordan Geronimo going to do. You don't have Trey Galloway to start the year, so who's going to do what on the wings for Indiana. That's just a gigantic question mark. But yeah, Illinois, you know what? Indiana might get the vote by the media and the coaches to win the league, but don't be surprised if Illinois doesn't get one of those.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah, once we get closer and the roster is set, I'm sure that there's going to be a couple votes at least for Illinois, because Brad Underwood's done an incredible job very quickly, and even though Indiana on the floor, and they took some big steps last season, and they've got some great players coming in, they've got some great players on the roster already. I think there's still a touch of mystery with Mike Woodson, and that's not anything that Mike Woodson's done. It's just he's only been there for one season, so that there's a little bit still of a mystery to what they can do and how well they can play with him leading the charge. So I think that there's going to be some split. There's probably going to be some picks for Michigan. There's probably, the basketball picks are usually far more diverse than the football. Football is basically, it's going to be Ohio State and Wisconsin pretty much every year. That's what the media picks, and you might have a few stragglers, but in basketball, you usually, unless there's a clear-cut favorite, unless somebody's returning, 3 or 4 NBA guys, there's usually at least a couple teams that'll get some votes to take home the conference. But I expect Indiana and Illinois will probably be those top 2 teams heading into next season.
Let's see how much time we got back. Something else to think about on the basketball side. Next year, when Indiana takes on Xavier, they will be playing a team that will have Mr. Hollowell on there, who transferred from Indiana. God, I'm drunk. Well, all of a sudden I forgot his Jeremy Hollowell, I believe. Yeah. Jeremy, who transferred off of Indiana's team. You will have Jack Nungy, who transferred from Iowa, but is from Newburgh, Indiana, for our listeners down in Evansville on the Ref, 97.7 ESPN. Jack Nungy down there from Newburgh. How he got out of Indiana, well, I do know that's Tom Crean time. This guy's a 7-footer. Iowa got him. But it didn't work out at Iowa for him. He's one of those guys that he likes to play out on the perimeter. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if that's worked out for him yet, but we'll find out. He was there last year. He led Xavier in scoring, 13.4 points. I didn't realize he was there last year already.
So it did work out for him.
It worked out. Well, of course it would. You're going from Iowa to Xavier, but I don't know why. No, it didn't work out for him at Iowa. Right. I don't know why it didn't work out for him there.
Well, I think
the up and down style. I think.
Well, I think he also battled some injuries when he was at Iowa, if I remember correctly.
He did. I don't know if he's an up and down kind of guy though.
I don't know.
With Iowa, they're a up-tempo offense, baby. But anyway, you got Jack Nungy, so he's going to be. So there's 2 guys who are really, really going to want to win that game, and then you got Sean Miller,
right?
So you got the triple crown connection in that game. So just a little bit of and so then it got me to thinking, and I'm going to have to sick one of the writers on this, but I'm wondering in the last 4, 5, 6 years, how many teams in IU basketball has played that had a transfer from IU on it?
Would be a good question. I don't even have a guess.
It's happened. I don't know, but it's happened a few times recently. Look how many times, hell, you played Joey Brunk on 2 different daggone teams.
Right.
You played against him with Butler, and you played against him when he was with Ohio State.
Yep. Well, and with the transfer portal, it's going to become way more common too.
Yeah, but this was pre-transfer portal for the most part. But just notice that. Just happened to notice that. We got to take a break. Listen, Indiana Sports Beat brought to you by our good friends down at Courtroom Sports Grill down in Bedford. Make sure you stop by. Everything made from scratch, using only the freshest ingredients. And it's a great place to catch a game, meet some friends. Great location down in Bedford next to the courtyard there. We're back with more. Dustin Schutte from outsider.com joining me on this Thursday right after this.
We'll be right back to the golf club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Endeavor Hospitality Group and Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington.
Whether you're visiting Bloomington, Force is heading out to Cascades Golf Course.
There we go. Enjoy the round, Forrest.
You know what? I've never played that course. It's on the north side of Bloomington, but I've been up there. It looks 27 holes even.
Wow.
Doesn't look
It's
bad.
a random number. Oh, no, that's 3 courses, isn't it?
No,
It's not.
no.
It's not random,
1.5.
John.
Well, I always
1.5.
think of 9 or 18, and then 27 just seems like a lot.
There's another place by me. I live on a golf course, Dustin. And then there's another place 5 minutes from me that has 27 holes.
I live on a golf course too. I cannot afford to play at this golf course, but maybe one day. Well, let me rephrase that.
Wait a minute, you can't sneak on.
I probably could, but it's patrolled pretty well.
Patrol Pismo.
I don't want to say I can afford it. I choose not to because through my brother's job, he gets an extremely good discount at another course, and so we just play there. This is a really nice course, but it's like $350 a month, I think. Which isn't, in terms of golf membership, is not bad at all. But when you can play for $10,
Why play golf when you can buy one of those $10 putting greens from Walmart?
What is that?
what?
They're like little little rollout putting greens.
Oh, that you put in your office?
Yeah.
You know, I once had an interview at Golf Channel, and I went to about 3 or 4 different offices, and they all had that. And during my interview, we were all putting.
Wow. Oh, wow. That had to be cool.
It was pretty neat. Even though I didn't I shouldn't say I didn't get the job. They took forever, and I got another job opportunity.
I have a friend of mine that works for TVG as well.
Oh, really?
Damn it. Should have got him on here today. Caleb Keller. Yep. He's a host on TVG Network.
Nice.
Yeah, boy.
We got to think outside of the box when it comes to guests.
I you know what? That phrase
Here we go. Sorry.
has been
HRVs
lost.
and pilots.
See dealer for financing deals. Andy Moore Honda, Bloomington's #1 Honda dealer. Get more to your door with AndyMooreHonda.com.
Come see us at the all-new Andy Moore Honda, now in Bloomington.
This segment is brought to you by BB's Market in Bloomington. Now back to the golf club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Endeavor Hospitality Group and Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington.
Oh, well, welcome back. It is Thursday here at the golf club at Eagle Point Studios. Dustin Schutte from outsider.com joining myself, Jim Coyle, as always, as we're brought to you by our good friends at Andy Moore Honda, where you can get yourself a brand new Honda, take a summer break, and have no payments for 90 days, baby. Take the summer off. Not bad. Also, BB's Market. Don't forget. Oh, my gosh. You love going into this place. Dustin, when you get up here and we go into this place, it's like being in steak heaven.
Oh, I love steak.
It's steak heaven. No, it's steak heaven. It's steak heaven. They're just, it's like they're like floating on little pillow clouds which one would you like? And they're just, seasoned, some are seasoned, all these sausages. It's pretty incredible.
What, what you're given the choice of your favorite cut of steak and the price doesn't matter. What would you go with?
I've always been a filet guy. I know a lot of people like the ribeyes, but if you can get a filet with a little bit of just, it's hard to get a little fat on a filet, but if you can get a filet with a little bit of fat on it, I don't know how you, but because they're so tender. But the key is I've stopped marinating. I don't marinate. No marinate on steak. I only do dry rubs. And the dry rubs are awesome. They just have flavor, and you don't overcook them, and voila. But so there's that. How about you?
I would go with the ribeye every time. Big old ribeye. I like a filet mignon. If I'm going to eat steak, I want a lot of it, and you usually don't get a ton of meat with a filet. So I want a big old ribeye. Porterhouse is a good option.
Renata says she knows nothing about golf other than her husband played in high school. Did he quit? She watches a lot of different types of sports, but golf just looks so boring. She can't watch it. Well, if you don't know, when I did not understand soccer, I hated watching soccer.
Sure.
I will watch a good soccer match now because I have an understanding and an appreciation. As long as it is not World Cup soccer, I will not. I can't stand the flopping that continues to go on in that.
I also played golf in high school, and never made the varsity. Not
surprising. How about Justin? Now good quality tomahawk, bone in. Yeah. That's a winner. That's a winner.
I don't think I've ever had a tomahawk steak. I've seen them.
Oh,
but I don't think I've ever had one.
It's just how it's the bone, the meat is just on the end of the bone, and it looks like a tomahawk. Like a tomahawk fillet. Man. Where was the place called Cane Prime in Nashville? And yeah, it was Wagyu. I think I've talked about this previously, but best steak I've ever had. It was just literally butter in your mouth. Then the sides, creme brulee corn, homemade bacon with cotton candy, and then some, I don't know, something else. But that Renata says a salt rub only. I go with kosher salt.
Yep.
And the steak seasoning. And the steak seasoning. And I let it set. Now I might let that set for 2 days sometimes if I'm ambitious.
If you think about it. Now I will say that
exactly.
even if you don't have a steak seasoning, now it depends on my mood, but even if you don't have a steak seasoning, kosher salt always, don't go table salt, kosher salt always, and fresh ground black pepper, and even those two things alone will give you one of the best steaks you've ever had. And I like to add just a touch of onion powder and garlic powder to mine, but that's about it.
What in the world is Michael talking about? Delmonico. We on spaghetti? Do they still even make spaghetti sauce?
Delmonico steak?
I believe Delmonico is the same thing as a New York strip. Am I mistaken by that?
Wow.
John. I'm going to look it up right now on my Google machine.
5 says you guys are going to make me go to Texas Roadhouse, which I would normally not say that, but they are actually Bubba's 33 is a subsidiary of Texas Roadhouse, so that's okay. Did you know they were founded and headquartered right down in Louisville?
It is not.
It's a boneless ribeye. I'm mistaken. Delmonico's a boneless ribeye.
Wow, I did not know that. What? No, see, now why does everything got to have a name? Why can't you just say, hey, give me a ribeye, give me a boneless ribeye? It doesn't take, time-wise, it's just as fast. Give me a ribeye, give me a boneless ribeye. Boom, boom. Now, why do you got to give names? Just creating more words, more clutter. I don't know. I don't understand.
Five Lefts is going to Texas Roadhouse for dinner. We made him hungry.
Yeah, I just said that.
I was too worried about figuring out what this Delmonico steak was. Tomahawk.
Tim had a tomahawk at the Chicago Chop House. That sounds nothing but delicious. Robert agrees with me. Rubs are better than marinating. Well, as did Dustin felt the same way. What else was I going to say? I've got to admit to some ignorance, and it is embarrassing. As long as I've been grilling, and I am a very good griller. I mean, other than going to whether it's Jeff Ruby's or Yanko's, I mean, high-end steakhouse, or the place I talked about in Nashville, I'll make my own steak because I'm like, yeah, it's not going to be a lot better than this, other than their quality of beef is probably a little bit better. But I'm like, I'm fine making a steak at home. And now that I got my little Weber, it's perfect.
Two things I always, any city or town I visit, two things I try to find are the best barbecue and the best steak. And let me tell you, if you're a lover of that, Charleston, South Carolina is an incredible place if you're looking for a great steak or you're looking for good barbecue. Where I used to live outside Atlanta, they had some really good steak and barbecue places. Indianapolis, St. Elmo's, obviously. One of the best steaks, I think the best steak I've ever had is in Charleston. It was, I can't remember the name of the place, Grill 520 or something like that.
Michael's all over the place, man. He's marinating his steak in soy and teriyaki, which that sounds okay for chicken, not for beef. It would be okay for beef if you were going to do something. That would be okay for me if that was like a skirt steak. Skirt steak, exactly. Yep. For like a couple of days. Are you kidding me? The Zagrebs have good steaks. Oh, Larry wants to know. Boy, his son. It's the best steak probably between St. Elmo's and, down to Jeff Ruby's in Louisville.
Is Jeff Ruby's the best place in Louisville?
It is now, because there was another place that was there that was actually founded in Fort Wayne. That I'm drawing a blank on their name. They were right on 4th Street. And during all the riots and stuff in Louisville, they said, we're done with this. We're out of here. And they lost a great restaurant over that. But Jeff Ruby's is, man, if you watch the Derby every year, he gets all the jockeys. He's got Jeff Ruby's on their shorts and all that stuff. So, but yeah, Zagreb's has great steaks. They have great everything. Everything. It's a great place to go. And if you're an IU fan, I cannot believe if you're an IU fan and a steak lover, and I'm giving them a free promo here, but yeah, Zagreb's is not a lot of great restaurants in Bloomington. Of course, the ones with the Wow Club, they're all great, top of the line. You've got Zagreb's and I might as well mention Malibu. But yeah, not a lot of great restaurants in Bloomington, but there's some good ones. But you got to go see all the Wow Club ones. They're the best ones. Tim used to get food donations, steaks and burgers from Texas Roadhouse. Kent Taylor, the founder, for his daughter's high school soccer team when they played on the road. Very nice. Yeah, Kent Taylor was the founder of that. Larry says, coming up in August and have never been. Crazy, right? Yes, sir. You're coming to Bloomington, huh? Well, that's awesome. we need to plan a fall get together at a particular type of game, Dustin, that you could join us at, a game that maybe they would play in, I don't know, say Memorial Stadium. I'm being careful on what I talk about here. But it would be awesome for you to come up. But we're going to be doing events at all of any game. I'll tell you this, any game that they have in Memorial Stadium on that day, we're going to have an event.
That sounds like a plan.
You have to check the schedule for what games are going on in Memorial Stadium, but I'm pretty sure that's a quick read. We'll explain to you in about a long time from now why I had to talk in code like that. But yep, Five Left said he used to treat himself to Zagrebs and pretend he was Al Capone. Speaking of Al Capone, and I just saw that they had something up at French Lick. Oh no, Roos Chris. No. First of all, that's a chain. Chains do not win anything. They may have a 40-ounce porterhouse, but anybody can have one. Robert says, Bloomington, go to Bub's, get a Big Ugly. I've heard about that thing, man. I want nothing to do with it. Big, gigantic hubcap hamburger, Dustin.
I'll give you a shot.
There's no way at this point in my life, like we just had the hot dog eating contest. Man, I can't even finish my own meals anymore. So, yeah, not looking forward to doing that. See, where are we? What do you have? What have you been doing?
This guy outside the door here does not know how to operate a leaf blower properly, and it's driving me insane. So I'm trying to save the listeners' ears here by putting it on mute. This guy's an idiot.
Put it on mute and just open that door and say, hey, dude, can you come back in about 30 minutes?
No kidding.
I'm trying to meditate.
I'm trying to work here.
I'm trying to meditate. I'm walking here. Not too many people get that. I have a strange mind. Wait, you just wait. You just wait. That's the ADHD. That's the all over the place. You think I'm kidding? That's why my notepad looks like this.
Wow.
Exactly. That's today. I mean, sometimes it's worse. Sometimes I got to go 2 pages.
Jeez.
What
is this? Just all show notes?
Just stuff that pops into my head. Yeah. Just that's the only that's organization. That's my brain organized.
That's compartmentalizing everything in your brain.
I'm just saying that's organization for me. That's how messed up my head is. We got to take a break. Let's talk some basketball when we come back. There's some action going on this weekend in Kansas City. The Hoosier.com will be there to cover that for you. I think Sicily and Harrelson and all those guys will be out there. So we'll talk about that and much more. Tim says the Stony River Steakhouse, crab cakes and steak yum. I think I know where that is. Yep. More coming up here on Indiana Sports Beat Radio, brought to you by our good friends from BB's Market, a part of the WOW Club. Make sure you check out BB's Market, located on South College in Bloomington, and go to the WOW Club and sign up. It's free, and you can start earning WOW rewards today. They are a proud sponsor of Value Athletics, but most importantly, of Indiana Sports Beat Radio. Support those who support the ones you love. Back with more right after this.
We'll be right back to the golf club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Endeavor Hospitality Group and Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington.
Whether you're visiting...
I don't know how all this grass. There's not even any grass here. I don't know why they're using these leaf blowers. Insane.
He's getting paid by the hour, homie.
That's probably true. Yes.
I promise he is. You think he's getting paid by the?
Well, I don't know. It depends, because when I worked at a landscaping company, we got paid by the job.
Man, I worked at a landscaping company once in the summer in Myrtle Beach. It was like a second cousin's ex-husband, and I actually got to live with him on the beach in his place. Lived on the beach, which was cool for that summer. But yeah, we did just all kind of just offices, just going around doing stuff, mowing. Oh, the greatest story ever! I was working with one of my cousins, just doing some. He was doing some handiwork, and he was doing work at this guy's house. Obviously, this house is worth a crap ton because it's already. You notice I caught that, didn't you?
What?
His house? Then you didn't catch it.
I didn't get it.
His house is on the beach. So back then, this is 30 years ago. So God knows what it was worth then. And I remember it was like one of those Martha's Vineyards, dark gray looking shutter houses. But one morning he comes out. We had been there for a couple of days. And one morning he comes out after we get there and reaches in his pocket and pulls out a quarter and says, "One of you guys dropped this yesterday?" And we're just like looking at each other like, I don't know. It's a quarter, man. We're like, I don't know. I haven't had one of these in years.
Hey, Jim, when we come back from break, I'm going to be stepping out for a few minutes, and I'll just text you when I'm back in my spot.
Step out, man. You better step out.
Step off my lawn.
Step off, man. Step off, George. George, you better step off.
George Stephanopoulos. Isn't that somebody? It sounds like a.
Yep.
Isn't that a news person?
Yes. Yeah, he's a little short dude who used to be Clinton's
White House
piece,
yeah,
press secretary.
Yes.
Now
yes.
Now he's a news anchor for ABC.
Gotcha. All right, here we go.
Indiana Sports Beat Radio. We're now a part of the Rivals Network. TheHoosier.com is where you can find complete coverage of Indiana basketball, football, and plenty more. Simply go to TheHoosier.com and sign up. It's free. You can also find full episodes of Indiana Sports Beat Radio on the homepage or on the station every week, Monday through Friday. If we're not on a station where you live, we should be. Ask for Indiana Sports Beat Radio. This segment is brought to you by Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Pizza, burgers, beer. Now back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Endeavor Hospitality Group and Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington.
Purchase your tracks today.
Welcome back to Indiana Sports Beat Radio on this Thursday. I hope you've had a good week. We're almost through it. We're basically done today. That means we've only got Friday left, and Fridays don't count, baby. Fridays it's like not even working almost.
Is that how it works?
Well, you know, kind of. Tim said he's going to go to Texas Roadhouse with all this talk. Well, he should be going to Bubba's 33 in Clarksville, as this segment is brought to you by the guys down there right off of I-65, pizza, burgers, and beer. You want to talk about fresh food? I guarantee you that food's fresh every time. Good stuff. They have like 51 TVs there. I've counted them. I counted them once. 51. There's like 51. And they can open up their garage doors.
Nice.
When the weather's right, man, oh man. Yeah. Good spots to be in. Let's see. This weekend on what is today? The 7th, the 8th?
Today's the 7th.
Today's the 7th. So this weekend is kind of an off weekend, but there's something going on in Kansas City. and the Hoosier.com will be there. We'll have a recap on Monday with Caleb Nost, as he will be there covering that for the Hoosier.com, as that is a Nike EYBL event, I believe. And then let's see, is it the week after that? Nah, maybe 2 weeks after that. The Big Daddies start. The Under Armour Finals is in Chicago and I try to say Chicago because that's how they say it up there. Chicago. I used to work when I worked for CBS Sports. I'd be fortunate to be around Greg Gumbel sometimes, and he was from Chicago. And he had, if you ever listen to him, you hear him. He said Chicago. So he just got this way, Chicago, and I'm like, but yeah. Had a great reference letter from him. I can almost remember it verbatim. It's so weird. His writing was so incredible. But the Prep Hoop Grit Region Finals, not sure that's going to actually happen. Oh, that was the Battle of the Brands. It didn't happen. The Prep Hoops Grit Region Finals is the 15th, so that's next week. Not sure what all is going on there, but this weekend in Kansas City, like I said, there's a Nike EYBL event, and we'll have a recap for you. Go to the Hoosier.com over the weekend, and you can get updates there as well, in addition to whatever else is going on. But we'll have Alec on tomorrow to talk about all of that and get you set up. Peach Jam's around the corner, baby, right in your old neck of the woods. All that, the Adidas Gauntlet. Where does that take place? Do you know? In Atlanta?
I don't know.
Then you've got the Peach Jam in North Augusta, South Carolina. Now, since that's in South Carolina, I'm going to assume that's not even anywhere close to Augusta, Georgia, right?
I don't think so, no. Although Augusta is over that direction.
You lived in Georgia for how long?
Almost 4 years.
And you don't know anything about the state.
I really don't know anything about Atlanta, to be quite honest with you, because I went down there, I think 3 times in 4 years.
Excuses. You went down there to Atlanta?
Yeah. I lived 20 minutes away, but after you see the College Football Hall of Fame.
You only lived 20 minutes. Yeah. The College Football Hall of Fame's in Atlanta?
Mm-hmm. They moved it from South Bend to Atlanta. So I've been there.
Better place for it.
Coca-Cola, CNN, the aquarium down there. After you've seen all that, I mean, I'm not
Did
a
you go
fan
to the
of
underground? The what do they call that? Buckhead, or is Buckhead, and there's the underground.
Buckhead, yep.
As I am looking, yeah, I'm over in, I don't know where. Oh, wait a minute.
It's right on the state line.
I did not realize that.
Yeah.
So that is Augusta, Georgia.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, gee whiz. Why am I not going there?
Try to sneak out to Augusta National.
Oh man, why am I not going to cover that? That was a mistake by me. I've got somebody else going. But that's going on there, which is basically southeast of, or east southeast of Atlanta, and in Atlanta you have the Adidas event. So Tim says I could always say Jim and I at ISB sets him up when he goes to Bubba's. I think they usually sit me on the curb laughing. No, just kidding. Sometimes they give him a free appetizer. There you go.
Nice.
So, I'm telling you, if you stop in there, for those of you that are from Southern Indiana, Floyd, Clark, Harrison, you stop in at Bubba's 33 and you tell them, hey, I heard about you guys on Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle. They will give you a free appetizer. You guys got to take advantage of this stuff, man. I'm trying to get you taken care of with Bubba's, with all the Wow Club stuff. Got to get you all fed and taken care of. Keep you fat and sassy.
I was going to say fat and happy, yeah.
Fat and happy and sassy and steak grilling all summer and getting ready for the tailgating that's coming up. No matter, you know what? People should still come to the football games. And I don't mean just come tailgate. Come tailgate, have fun. Go to the damn game. Just go have fun. Just go have fun. Go support. Just go do it, man.
Here's the thing, and I understand that tickets can be expensive. Usually they're not after a season like Indiana just had, and I'm not trying to be mean. I'm being realistic. But do you remember how awful 2020 was, where nobody was in the stands? Like we can't take this stuff for granted anymore. And I'm not saying you have to go to every game, but make it a point. If you're a fan, go to one game every year. Try to get out to one game.
2020 looked about like any Indiana game minus Michigan, Penn State, Ohio State in the fourth quarter. Halftime comes, students are gone. But you got to win, man. And last year, I've said it before, and I hate repeating it. They had them in their hands. But the good thing is the students will come back.
Yep.
They'll come back and support them. And guess what? All you got to do is win. Win that first game. Just win the first game. Take it a game at a time. A game at a time, man. Win that first game. Go 1-0. Then now you've got one non-con game before you got to play Cincinnati, I think. Who knows? You go to Cincinnati because John gets all hopped up when I don't give him the props now.
Don't give him a chance.
I'm not sitting here saying
Indiana could
potentially props.
Indiana could potentially go to Cincinnati and win. Then you're 3-0. Then you got another non-con game. Now you're 4-0. It is actually a possibility. But it's hard to say when you don't know what the hell the team's like.
But that's the thing. Football, I feel like we've all said this before, but college football in particular is such a momentum-based sport. I mean, you take the past two seasons with exactly that. You had Indiana riding all of the positive momentum to a nearly historic season, and then a historically terrible season the following year because of all of the negative momentum that started with the Iowa game, and then was even amplified even further with what happened at home against Cincinnati with Micah McFadden getting thrown out of the game. It was just a multitude of different things went right one year and then went wrong the other year. Can Indiana find that happy medium this season to get back on track? That's really what it's going to come down to. Can they find positive momentum again to get back on track where they should be as someone who's not ever going to be in Ohio State or a Michigan in the Big Ten?
You know what? Daggone it. I wanted to talk about it, and crap, we only got like less than 10 minutes left. But, all right, USC and UCLA coming into the Big Ten. Couple things. And I really screwed up on this. How are they going to stage the Big Ten? How are you going to do this now? How are you going to schedule? Right now you have 16 teams. So in
There's
football,
there will be 4 more.
How are you going to stay at 9, or you have to stay at 9 conference games now with all these teams probably, but or do you go to 4 to get more teams in bowl games?
My guess is you're going to see 20 teams in the Big Ten probably by that 2024. That's my guess. And I think what you're going to see, the days of non-conference games, the days of cupcakes are going to go away. It's going to be straight up a 12-game conference-only schedule. I don't know how else you're going to do it. It's going to bring you in a ton of money because even though, not a lot of people are going to want to see UCLA, Rutgers, or Illinois, Maryland, or whatever the case might be, it's still a hell of a lot more appealing than Maryland, Towson, or Illinois State, or UCLA playing Eastern Washington. So I think it's going to go up to 20. I don't know how they're going to do divisions. They might do pods. I don't know how it's going to work, but I think before the end of this decade, there's not going to be – the group of 5 teams are going to have to make a decision. Either we're going to find a way to join those power leagues, we're going to drop down to the FCS, or we're going to eliminate our college football program, because I don't think there are going to be any more non-conference games by 2030, there's not going to be a non-conference schedule, in my opinion. It's all going to be conference games.
The Big Ten can have 2 divisions of 10 teams, and they can call one the Big Ten, and they can call the other one Bo Derek.
What?
It's better than Legends and Leaders.
It is better than Legends and Leaders.
Or you could go Bo Derek and what's the Fox girl name?
Megan Fox.
Megan Fox. But she wasn't officially classified as a 10. So I was just trying to create some. But yeah, they're going to have a lot of issues, man. A lot of things, because then you got basketball, which is a lot easier because 16 teams, you're going to do what they're already doing. You're going to have a certain amount of games where you play home and home. Then you're going to have a certain amount of games where you play on the road only, and a certain amount of games where you play at home only. And that will continue. You're going to see Indiana in Pauley Pavilion one year and UCLA and Simon Scott the next season, not the same season. That's how that's going to happen there. But football,
how about this? Indiana's going to get back to the Rose Bowl at some point.
Maybe. If
it'll happen at some point. I'm not saying it's going to be soon.
If it doesn't change before then. And Justin, I don't remember. Where are you from? Because I got to write that in my book. But Justin B says the West Coast editions still are hard head scratchers to him. Louisville or Notre Dame. Louisville will never, ever, 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 ever get into the Big Ten. Louisville, first of all, their academics suck. Go look up U.S. News and World Report, where Louisville ranks as a university. They are not getting in the Big Ten. And if that wasn't enough, which it already is, that's more than enough. The baggage they bring, oh my God, they're still waiting on NCAA sanctions from the infractions they committed while they were on probation from the other sanctions that they committed. So no, Louisville will never. Notre Dame, I think Notre Dame is going to. Well, I don't see how they don't. They're giving. No, they're leaving. They're leaving $60 million on the table, maybe more.
If the Big Ten lands Notre Dame and then they're able to get, let's say, Washington, Oregon, and then you can throw another team in there. I don't know who it would be. Stanford, Colorado. You could probably name it. Honestly, if you're able to get those three, it probably doesn't matter who that other team is. If we're going to be frank,
I see 4 pods of 5 teams.
That's probably what's going to happen. I know our friend Jeffrey the Greek put out.
And you add those West Coast teams in a pod. You have their own pod.
And I think that's what our friend Jeffrey the Greek put out. I think it was 4 or 5 team pods, and I think the West Coast kind of all stuck together. But look, understand this much, that in terms of the geography, it doesn't matter. Like, people who are confused by that, this all has everything to do with Fox and the money that the Big Ten's going to get. It's all about securing that $1 billion television rights network, and USC and UCLA are part of the second biggest sports market in the country. And so that's huge when you add that to when you look at the Big Ten already has the biggest brands in Ohio State, Michigan, Penn State, Nebraska, some of the biggest brands in the country. So you add those two to the mix. Notre Dame is the only one that's kind of surprising. They've already got to deal with the ACC, so they couldn't necessarily just jump ship right away. But the Big Ten had to go after big names. They couldn't settle for Louisville, Iowa State, Kansas. They couldn't settle for that. They had to go for the big money, and they got it. They won that bidding war.
Hey, you hear me rip on Kevin Warren all the time, but not on this.
Nope.
I don't know how responsible he was for this. It sounds like they came to the Big Ten, but it got done, and it got done quietly, without it leaking, and that's gigantic.
Right.
But I see people putting out tweets with maps saying, "Oh yeah, that makes a lot of sense." Yeah, it makes a hell of a lot of sense. If you spell sense with an S that's got 2 lines through it, all kinds of sense. And that's what
1
it's
minute.
about. So that's where we are. Well, get to do it again tomorrow because even though I thought today was Friday, but wish you were joining us tomorrow, man, because on the program tomorrow, I'll have to rewrite it since I had it written on today. But Alec Lasley will join us, and he'll get us filled in on what's going on this weekend on the basketball side of things, get you updated on all the recruiting action, where it's going to be happening as well. And I think hopefully we'll have Zach Osterman on. He just started a new series on the effect of NIL. And let's see. Oh, yeah. The reason I said you wish you were going to be on. Mitchell Page.
Nice.
And Jeffrey the Greek.
Oh,
bam.
There we go.
Dude, you make it a party.
Is Mitchell, are those two guys just doing segments or are they joining you all day?
No, they're the last two segments.
Nice.
You're welcome. You're welcome to join.
Maybe I'll make a surprise visit. We'll see.
All right, brother. Cannot thank everybody enough on the program today. Dustin, big thanks as always. Thanks to John. Most importantly, thanks to you guys. Without you, we've got no reason to be here. Please go to YouTube and subscribe and hit like. And we'll be back to do this again tomorrow. Looking forward to it. Go out and have yourselves a great one. Until then, I am Jim Coyle, and I will see you on the radio.
Thanks for listening to Indiana Sports Beat Radio. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube page for more clips and team coverage of Indiana basketball, football, and more. You can also find full episodes and tons of other content on thehoosier.com. We'll see you next time for another edition of Indiana Sports Beat Radio.